Welcome to Grace Fellowship Baptist Church Wednesday evening Bible study for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. We are in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 17. Let's start in verse 1. Jehoshaphat, his son, succeeded him as king and strengthened himself against Israel. This passage was dealing with the final bit of Asa, and Asa died in the last verse of chapter 16, so continuing the thought, and in the Hebrew it's actually part of the same passage dealing with Asa, but anyway, Jehoshaphat succeeded his father, and he strengthened himself against Israel. Now, in 2 Chronicles, it doesn't say anything about the time period in which he was reigning, but in 2 Kings chapter 22, it says he started to reign in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel. So Jehoshaphat is like the 6th king since Solomon. Israel, the northern kingdom, has had like 12 kings at this point in time. And Ahab is, of course, one of the very important kings for Israel. He's a wicked man. He worships all kinds of gods. He does not believe in Yahweh in any shape, form, or fashion, even the attenuated, corrupted version that the northern kingdom worshipped, where they worshipped at golden bulls that were supposedly Yahweh. He didn't even do that. And he worshipped Baals. He married the daughter of the king of Tyre, who worshipped Asherah, the female goddess that was consort to Baal. And they actively promoted Baal worship and Asherah worship and persecuted those who worshipped other gods other than that. And so this is the milieu Jehoshaphat comes into his kingship with. Verse 2. He stationed troops in all the fortified cities of Judah and put garrisons in Judah and the towns of Ephraim that his father Asa had captured. The Lord was with Jehoshaphat because in his early years he walked in the ways of his father David and had followed. He did not consult the Baals, but sought the Lord of his father and followed his commands rather than the practices of Israel. The Lord established the kingdom under his control, and all Judah brought gifts to Jehoshaphat so that he had great wealth and honor. His heart was devoted to the ways of the Lord. Furthermore, he removed the high places and the Asherah poles from Judah. So Jehoshaphat is one of the good kings, and he followed God, at least early in his career, and worshipped him, and he was devoted to Yahweh, and he removed the evil places of worship, and he cut down the Asherah poles, and he got to keep the cities that his father had conquered from the northern kingdom, Israel, and he fortified them and put troops in them, and things are looking good. Now, 1 Kings does not mention any of this. This whole chapter is material that was not in 1 Kings. 1 Kings basically said he lived and died, and that's it. Very short paragraph about him. We will get next week into the parallel passage in 2 Chronicles and compare and contrast them. This is all new material, and we find out he was a good king. Let's start in verse 7. In the 3rd year of his reign, he sent his officials, Ben-Hail, Obadiah, Zechariah, Nathaniel, and Micah, to teach in the towns of Judah. With them were certain Levites, Shemaiah, Nathaniel, Zebediah, Ashiel, Shemariamoth, Jehonathan, Adonijah, Tobijah, and Tob Adonijah, and the priest Elishama and Jehoram. They taught throughout Judah, taking with them the book of the law of the Lord, and they went around to all the towns of Judah and taught the people. So he, like his father Asa, worshipped Yahweh and wanted the people to, and he instituted a reform, and he knew they didn't know how to worship Yahweh. And so he sent the Levites and the priests and some royal advisors. So teachers had royal authority, not just religious authority. And this is, when this bunch rolls into town, it's like the cabinet of the United States rolls in with, heads of the church and teachers, and, people are going to go, okay, this is the government and this is the priest and the Levites, and they're teaching us God's way, and the government says that's the best way to do it. So everybody paid attention. Everybody listened. They got taught. They understood the way of Yahweh. This was intentional. And so the people started worshiping Yahweh better. Verse 10, the fear of the Lord fell on all the kingdoms of the land surrounding Judah, so that they did not make war with Jehoshaphat. Some Philistines brought Jehoshaphat gifts and silver as tribute, and the Arabs brought him flocks, 7,700 rams and 7,700 goats. So even the foreigners were giving him tribute, not just the towns of Judah. And this 7,700 rams and 7,700 goats, that's actually not that many. That's symbolic, but it was taken symbolically. They didn't have to give him anything. They were giving him a gift to earn his good favor. The fear of the Lord had gone around because Jehoshaphat taught the people the law of the Lord, and the implication is you need to obey this. And so the countries around, God pacified them so they didn't want to attack Judah. They did not want to attempt anything. And some of them even tried to be friendly with him by sending him gifts. Now, the Philistines sent him silver and other gifts. It's not clear what, but they were sending him wealth. The Arabs, this translation calls them Arabs. This is before they would have been calling themselves Arabs. They were Bedouin people. Some of them were Ishmaelites. Some of them were the descendants of Keturah, Abraham's concubine. So they were all the descendants of Abraham, but not in the holy lineage. And they'd been out in the desert for a long time, and they were basically living the Bedouin lifestyle. And they thought it was in their interest to court Jehoshaphat's good favor, so they brought in a symbolic gift of 7,700 rams and 7,700 goats. They had a whole lot more rams and goats than that. His father Asa, when he attacked them, the previous generation captured hundreds of thousands of goats and rams and sheep and other cattle. So, this is a symbolic gift. It's not a serious gift of somebody who thinks they would be handily defeated, but it's somebody who goes, it's not worth taking a risk. Let's put a symbolic gift out there and see can we curry favor. And that's what they do. Verse 12, Jehoshaphat became more and more powerful. He built forts and store cities in Judah and had large supplies in the towns of Judah. He also kept experienced fighting men in Jerusalem. Their enrollment by families was as follows. From Judah, commanders of units of 1,000, Adnah the commander with 300,000 fighting men. Next, Jehohanan the commander with 280,000. Next, Amasa, son of Zikri, who volunteered himself for the service of the Lord with 200,000. From Benjamin, Elidah, a valiant soldier with 200,000 men armed with bows and shields. Next, Jehozabad with 180,000 men armed for battle. These were the men who served the king, besides those he stationed in the fortified cities throughout Judah. So this was the standing army he had in Jerusalem, and he had other soldiers in the other towns of Israel. So he had quite a large army. He's beginning to get an army as big as Solomon did, with just 2 tribes. 2 generations in a row of the kings worshiping Yahweh. Judah has become prosperous. Judah has built its population up from when it was decimated under Jehoshaphat's great-great-grandfather, when the king of Egypt came in and destroyed everything but Jerusalem. And so it's now built up to where it has a very formidable army. And the army there in Jerusalem was under the king's command. Later passages indicate that some of his sons were in command in other cities and had forces not as big as the king's army, but very formidable. And if they were in a fortified city, it would be hard to conquer. So collectively, his army could have easily been, his standing army could have easily been larger than this. He had over 1 million men stationed in Jerusalem. And, if you had 1 wife and 2.5 children each, just the army in Jerusalem, not counting the rest of the government, you're talking 5 million people. And that wasn't the culture in that day. If you had 1 wife, you probably had 6 to 8 kids. If you were somewhat wealthy, you had 2 or 3 or 4 with 6 or 8 children each. And you're going to have farmers to support that. And in that day and time, a farmer could support between 5 and 10 people besides himself. In a poor crop year, 2 people besides himself. So you're talking at least another 1 million farmers supporting the army, plus the people it takes to support those. And, so King Jehoshaphat probably had about 15 million people in Judah. And he could conscript in the case of a war that he needed to defend the country. Probably, easily 5 million men. Probably over 2 million experienced soldiers. So it's not a surprise that the countries around thought, Judah's not worth attacking. We don't want to get attacked back. Judah has a reputation when you attack it, they defend themselves. And Solomon and David would have been known to the surrounding nations. And they conquered everything. And, David conquered everything because we attacked him, not because he came out and attacked us. And that kind of sticks. And you learn the lesson and you don't go attack. And so Jehoshaphat, because he worshiped Yahweh and taught the people to worship Yahweh, became very prosperous and very influential and very important. Holy Father, help us to learn the lesson of Jehoshaphat, that we would worship you, we would honor you, we would be blessed by you. I ask that you would send your Holy Spirit through North America, through Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and redeem a majority of the people so that they worship you. And have this revival start in me, that I would humble myself and pray and seek your face and turn from my wicked way and live for you. Lord, our culture is so wicked. We call good evil and evil good, and we go our own way and do our own thing, and it's disaster. And we're becoming the laughingstock of the world, unreliable, but because you have been our God. In the past, you've protected us. Now, we turn against you, and it looks like things are going bad. Lord, I ask that, you would be righteous to punish us. But I ask that you be gracious and merciful to us again, and redeem us, and bring us back to you. In your holy name, amen. I am your host, Frank Reich, and this has been the Wednesday evening Bible study for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. And this was recorded on Saturday, September 20th, 2025. And I hope to see you tomorrow morning at Sunday school and worship. I hope to see you tomorrow evening at Dale's class where we're studying Exodus. I think we're starting in chapter 10, 11, 12. Then I hope to see you on Wednesday evening where we go over the beginning of Jehoshaphat's reign and what made him righteous and what God saw in him and what God did because of that. If nothing else, we'll see you here on YouTube. Have a blessed week.